Hi guys, I hope all of you are doing well. My name is Niladri Mukherjee and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I practice here in Guelph, Ontario. The Minister Chrystia Freeland, the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, has passed the budget or has presented the budget of 2022. And here are some of the key takeaways that I think you should be aware of. Now, I would like to break down this video into two main parts. The first part will mostly be information transmission I would like to present as to what I think are the important points that you should be aware of. And in the second part of the video, I'm going to talk about how I think those points will have any impact or any repercussions on the visitor, on the permanent residents, or the potential visitor, or the potential permanent residents, the students, workers, and the list goes on. The first and foremost important point that I think you should be aware of is that the Government of Canada is planning to amend the Immigration Refugee Protection Act, or the IRPA, to have the ministers more discretionary power to speak and choose select candidates from the express entry pool, irrespective of the CRS, if the minister thinks that those specific NOCs or those specific individuals or those very specific skill sets will have a more positive impact on the Canadian labor market. So this is more of a current market in demand kind of a situation, if you will, wherein the minister will have discretionary power to maybe pick somebody with a CRS of 395, for example, over somebody of 495. Again, for example, if the minister thinks that somebody from 395 will create, will sort of, I will say, have a more positive impact in meeting the current employer requirements. So this is something that I think you should be aware of, right? The second most important point is that if you remember, we have discussed about the immigration level plans of 2022 to 2024. Now, the government is now planning to invest, I think, over 317 million Canadian dollar every single year to be able to achieve those additional 400,000 Canadian permanent residents that it thought to bring. So this point really talks about the commitment of the government towards immigration. The immigration is not going to go anytime soon, and with those additional investment into play, we would like to see the goal of bringing 400,000 new permanent residents every single year probably is going to materialize, and if all goes well, maybe the target could even be revised. So this part is definitely good news for all of us, right? The third point, let's talk about temporary resident, visa holder, or anybody that is planning to come to Canada as a temporary worker. Now, the government is planning to really invest over 29 million Canadian dollar to help those employers, to help those repeat employers, those keep on hiring foreign resources and have been able to display that they're able to abide by every single condition as they have promised to abide by in their LMI applications, right? And the government is also planning to invest over $48 million to help employers to hire more and more employees when it comes to the fish processing sector. This is very important, and I will explain what this means to you in the later section of the video when I try to draw the inference of this act. The other very important point, just in my opinion, is a commitment of over $187 million to help the government to answer your calls, to answer your web forms, and to be able to respond back to your GCMS notes request as fast as possible. The government is sort of finally realized that the response time is quite higher. If you say, for example, raise a GCMS notes today, you will not hear back maybe within the next 2 months period, which is a very long time. If you are raising a web form today, you're not hearing back within 2 weeks time, which is also a very long time. So the government is planning to commit over 187 million Canadian dollars to be able to have better infrastructure, to be able to hire more immigration officers, customer service representatives, to be able to invest in more platforms, more new IT platforms in place to be able to respond to those queries very, very faster manner, at least as fast as possible. We'll see how this goes, but this really shows that the government has finally acknowledged that, or the IRCC has finally acknowledged that they're not able to respond to the queries on time, and this really creates a lot of frustration, which is very, very pertinent because you have paid the money, you have right to know when your application will be processed. This step, in my opinion, is very important, and we'll see how it goes, but I'm optimistic that the response time will come down now. The processing time for GCMS notes will also come down now, and if you call the IRCC customer care, your waiting time is going to cut cut down to half as they have promised, right? But we'll see how this goes. The last but not the least is this citizenship. So those of you who are planning to apply for citizenship should know that the government is also planning to amend the Citizenship Act to be able to have more number of officers reviewing the application, to be able to have more IT system to do the initial screening process, and eventually to help the government in basically reviewing the complete application, because currently the processing time for a citizenship application is over 1 year, at least 1 year in most cases, and the government is planning to invest on that part as well by amending the Citizenship Act to invest more on infrastructure, to more on officers, to more on IT systems, to basically digitize the process and to hire more and more immigration officers to actually work on the citizenship application as well. Now, again, in line with my first point, amendment of the act is easier said than done. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of debate on the parliament and whatnot. We'll see how this goes, but at least they're thinking about it, which is a good part. So this really sums up the information transmission part. Now, what do I really think about all this, right? What is my observation? What is my sort of analysis of this budget? First and foremost analysis is that temporary foreign worker program. In my opinion, after reading the whole budget, my observation is that the government is now planning to emphasize on the temporary foreign worker program, because they have realized that those are the workers that are coming to Canada with exemplary skill set to be able to help the Canadian employees to perform like the way should be performing, and obviously reducing the labor market demand. So somebody that is willing to hire foreign worker through LMIA program, the government has promised to cut on the red tapeism part, because when you submit an LMIA application these days, even today, it really goes on the multiple layers of security. It goes on a multiple layers of check, even for repeat employers. So if I'm hiring somebody from outside Canada, maybe for the 5th time, I will still have to go the exact same process as somebody who is hiring for the first time. Is it fair? Probably no, right? Because if the government has approved last 4 of my applications, they should by now know that I am a genuine employer. So the objective of this is to cut all those red tapeism to make the process faster, which from the employer's perspective will help them to hire more and more foreign workers, which is a great news in my opinion, because express entry is almost non-existent for the outside Canada candidates. Now, all of you that are sitting in that age bracket of maybe 35 plus or something, study may not look like an immediately attractive option. Also, study is quite expensive. So this kind of steps will help to ensure that the number of LMIs goes up, the number of foreign workers goes up. And there are some countries where there is, historically the most number of foreign workers come in. India, Philippines, Bangladesh, Pakistan, in some cases, in some parts of Middle East as well. So it's definitely a good news for all of you. Secondly, the response time, which to me is very important as well. When I raise a GCMS notes for my client, I really have to wait for over a month to get that notes. And what if the client, for example, if it's a student visa file and the client is going to apply in fall, and I really don't know why the application is taking so long. So this is a very important step that the government has finally realized, that they should really cut down on the processing time, because when you really apply for a GCMS note, it has to go through multiple layers to reach to the right person for help him to procure the notes. Now, the procurement of the notes as a process does not take, in my opinion, more than a few hours. The red tapeism takes a hell lot of time, and the government is finally trying to cut that short, which is great. Another thing, from your perspective, a lot of you are raising web forms, a lot of you are calling IRCC to get an update on the file, which is fair. You're paid the money, it's your life, you should get the update. If they hire more and more number of officers or the customer care executives to take your call, to respond to your web forms or to respond to your emails, nothing like it. None of us are really saying that we want to come to Canada tomorrow. What we are saying is that just at least update us as to what's going on. After paying the fee, after submitting the application, nobody really wants to wait forever to see what happens in the future. This is a great step in my opinion. Last but not the least, express entry. Well, amendment of the IRPA to be, to have the minister's discretionary power to pick and choose candidates. We'll see how it goes. I am yet to visualize on the exact impact on that. A potential impact that I could see is that, for example, if somebody is sitting with a CRS of 395 with an extremely valuable NOC, valuable from the Canadian's employer's perspective, vis-a-vis somebody sitting in with a CRS of 495, obviously mostly a fresher with just a couple of years of experience, the minister will then have a power to choose somebody with a CRS of 395 if the minister thinks that person is going to bring more value to Canada as compared to 495. That, in my opinion, really deviates the purpose of express entry system. But I don't really think that it will be that discretionary. Again, we'll see how it goes. For those of you that have applied for citizenship, it's good to know that the processing time will come down from 12 months. In my opinion, it should be like 3 to 4 months or maybe 6 months if the process is digitized. Currently, it's like almost completely manual. We have to submit paper applications, and then reviewing all those papers, all those documents. Background checks take a lot of time, and that is a substantial part of the time that is causing this delay or maybe this long processing time, right? So if that got short, why not? All in all, it's a good budget from immigration perspective. I'm not really talking about the other points that the minister has brought in, which are not relevant for immigration, obviously. But from immigration perspective, this budget is definitely a good step. We'll see the implementation part of it, how it goes. I'll keep on updating you guys. If you need my professional assistance with immigration, send me an email, contact@nuvonation.ca, and shall be glad to help. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.